Hi friends, it's Mano. I just want to say hello to you. I'm sitting in a nice comfortable chair in beautiful Moscow. Moscow has always been one of my favorite cities. I especially like the metro. And a lot of people ask, Mano, what is it that gives you your inspiration in life, that you always try to be happy and you always try to help people with things, and why do you have such a power, such a drive to try to support people? And one thing I want to say is I really love the people all over the world, and the people from Russia really touch my heart. They're so friendly and they're so nice. Is when I started out, I started out in a place called Michigan, and I didn't have an easy start. And one of the difficult things in my life was that both of my parents were nervous, and both of the parents smoked a lot. So what I like now, especially so much in Russia, is it's all everywhere inside the building. Is nobody smokes inside the metro stations, so I can go everywhere really with kind of fresh air. I really like that. But when I was a child, I remember many times being in the car with the windows rolled up, and the father, or maybe even sometimes father and mother, they would smoke. Sometimes the window would be down, and it wasn't nice for me, that wasn't nice. Later, I was a runner, I was on the running team, so it's one of my favorite things to do. I love to run in the forest. I love to do things to be healthy. And like many people in their family, I always wanted to try to get a closer connection with my parents. Father was busy at work, and mother and father had divorced. So I grew up with a father, and I didn't get to see him as much as I wanted, because he had his life. He was working, and then he would stop by and see friends, or maybe he would stop to get a drink or something. But I didn't get to see him as much as I liked. So I got mostly contact with brothers and sisters, and that had its own rough side to it. So later, when I was graduated with university, I really had the feeling I want to just do things with my father. I want to go on camping trips. I want to go canoeing. I want to go places. And unfortunately for him, the cigarettes caught up to him. And that was the time when people didn't know too much about cancer. So from seeing him pretty healthy, to like seeing him 4 or 5 months later, we had a huge tumor. I got a shock, and because I love my father, I would do my exercises. I would do practices to make me stronger, and I would go into the hospital and I would hold his hand, and that would be a big help to him. I learned techniques to how to clean emotions, so any frustrations I had, or what wasn't done for me, or maybe what was done in the wrong way, I was able to let all that go, deeper than forgiveness. So I was really full of love for my father. I wanted to do so much things with him. So I would go sit by his side and hold his hands, and he would feel the positive energy, and I could help him come out of his pain. Everybody knows with cancer, if you don't get the right treatment and you don't get it in time, it wins. Cancer wins. And at that time, my father didn't have the power. He didn't know what to do. I remember inside just thinking, Papa, get up and go for a walk and do some things, and he was never able to get up and leave the hospital again. So in that moment, I had two shocks. I had my first shock experience with cancer, and I also had the just the feeling of, whenever I saw somebody smoke, I would remember the end of my father's life. And so I have a very big longing that, other people can do anything, that they don't get the same result that my father had. So that's why I'm kind of like a coach. I'm like a really emphatic coach that I want people to live a long life. I want people to be healthy. If they have any kind of addiction, whether it's drinking or smoking or drug abuse, I've tried hard to find my own system to help people get out of that, get out of that process that I know is going to lead them to be in trouble. And a lot of people have gotten a lot of great results. And as you know, and I know, there's many people who don't get the help and they don't find a way. So, I have a very big compassion for them. I'm 60 now, and most of my life, whenever I can do it, my life is all about being a volunteer. So I started volunteering when I was in university time. My life was to, find a way to try to do something good for a lot of people, and just understanding that my life would also be good. So that's my feeling, that I like to try to solve the deeper problems, and I like to give people the sportsman's hurrah, that we can do it. So that's the reason that I work so much about these kind of addictions: the smoking, the drinking, the people who have on drugs. In my life, I was never attracted to drinking. I was never attracted to smoking. I was never attracted to drugs. At that time in USA, a lot of people were attracted to drugs, and my sister got hooked for a while, maybe 2 or 3 years, and the rest of us, we all tried to, help her and protect her. She was basically, most of the time, she at that age, she wasn't living at home. But it was like, when you're a young person, you're a teenager, you're in school, you really care about people and what they do. So for me, in a way, everybody, for me, how I see it is my brother and my sister. So it doesn't matter to me if it's a new person I meet on the metro or somebody else. I feel like I care for people.